Good evening and thanks for joining us. My name is Chimdindu Chambers. The headlines. Presidential Election Tribunal warns against public analysis of its proceedings. Suspected thugs attack protesting NLC officials at the Minister of Labour's house. Abia State Commissioner of Police confirms crime reduction in Umuahia and Aba. And on the foreign South African ruling political party faces tough test 25 years after apartheid. Details shortly. President Muhammadu Buhari is assuring Nigerians that their expectations will be met and that he will not let them down after giving him the opportunity to serve a second term in office. President Buhari spoke after attending the daily Quranic interpretation marking the month of Ramadan fast at the State House Mosque in Abuja. He assured that his administration would provide effective and result-oriented leadership that will safeguard a better living for Nigerians. The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal in Abuja is warning lawyers, the media, litigants and members of the public against analyzing its proceedings in the public. President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Zainab Bokachua, who leads the five-man panel, issued the warning at the inaugural sitting in Abuja today. She assured that litigants in the four pending presidential election petitions filed before the tribunal would be given equal opportunity to present their case. Meanwhile, Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has fixed May 15th for a pre-hearing session on the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. There are a total of 4 petitions challenging the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari and his All Progressive Congress Party in the February 23 poll. The tribunal, led by the President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Zainab Bokachua, after conducting its inaugural sitting, went on to call each case one after the other. The President of the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, Maria Garcias, has described Nigeria as a formidable member of the UN. She made the observation after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari in the State House as part of the process towards handing over to a Nigerian as the next president of the world body.
My presence here is to acknowledge and recognize the important role that the Federal Republic of Nigeria plays for the multilateral system and the United Nations. And these are not only words.
She spoke on efforts to expand the United Nations General Assembly and Nigeria's bid for a permanent seat.
This is a process, one of the most complex, divisive and contentious negotiation processes at the UN. The process of reform has started 25 years ago.
The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, says the force will evaluate some of the suggestions made by members of the National Assembly on how to enhance national security. The IGP gave the indication after a meeting with the lawmakers yesterday.
We have reviewed the strategy and what put in again in order to mitigate some of the challenges that emerged again. They have appreciated what we've presented and also they gave suggestions as to how to enhance the strategy that we said were deployed.
Recall that the former IGP Ibrahim Idris snubbed several invitations from the National Assembly. The planned protest by the Nigerian Labour Congress against the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, over his failure to inaugurate the board of National Social Insurance Trust Fund, with Frank Kokori as the chairman, had a new twist as workers were attacked by suspected thugs at the minister's house in Asokoro. Those who were injured were taken to the National Hospital in Abuja for treatment. President of the NLC, Ayuba Waba, has described the act as barbaric. Boko Haram fighters have killed 9 people in 2 separate attacks in Borno, northeastern Nigeria. Officials and local militia forces said the attackers, packed in trucks, stormed into the village of Molai just before sunset on Tuesday, when villagers were preparing to pray and break their fast for the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. Head of the State Emergency Management Agency, Usman Kari, said 6 bodies were collected after the attack. Members of the Jigawa House of Assembly have destroyed the maize, which is a symbol, after some lawmakers got into a fight over leadership. The House was thrown into a rowdy session following a motion moved on the amendment of the standing rule of the State Assembly. A member representing Yakwanshi constituency, Al-Qasim Kakana, was reported to have hit the maize, which resulted in its destruction. A masking tape was used in covering the broken maize, while journalists and other staff in the House were later sent out of the chamber and the gates were locked. Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi is accusing Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike of sponsoring the violence and killings that trailed 2019 general election in the state. Speaking in a monitored television interview, the minister said that PDP orchestrated the violence to win public sympathy.
The actions of the police officer that they were alleged to have raped and molested the woman, that will set up a...
Is the fact that he ran a first term in which people were killed. Today he accuses the army and just one policeman. He accuses the army because they refused to take bribe. And that election that INEC stopped the election from going on, we recorded violence at the presidential election. There was no violence at the state election. Just because they stopped Wike from killing people.
In his reaction, Governor Nyesom Wike accused Amechi of misdirecting his bitterness over APC's failure to install the preferred candidate as governor of Rivers State.
It is not in his place to say that I should not go for second tenure. It is for the people of Rivers State. It doesn't matter what his opinion is. He has said before that the problem with me was that I'm from Ikwere, he's from Ikwere, and that he said he wants equity, and therefore there's no way he will be finishing as governor, and then another Ikwere man goes for governor. At every stage, you have one story or the other.
Abia State Commissioner of Police, Eneo Kon, is confirming reduction in crime in Aba and Umuahia following the adjustment in operational time for tricycle in the 2 cities. The commissioner, who dropped the hint while speaking on Flow FM's security program, Meet Your Police, said armed robbery, kidnapping and violent crimes have dropped marginally due to the directive.
Every crime prevention strategy adopted is based on the pattern of crime. So the 7 p.m. restriction suits the situation, and it will continue for some time. I know, yes, today we can raise our head and say, yes, we have reduced this crime drastically for the past 3 weeks or 1 month now.
He said the command is embracing community policing strategy and warned his men against involvement in crimes.
Everybody should know that there is a paradigm shift in policing now. We are taking the police back to the owners, which is the community. The community is the owner of the police. It's about partnership, about being accountable to the public, partnering with the public, partnering with the community, partnering with all stakeholders, and being accountable to them.
Hello.
Meanwhile, a cross-section of Aba residents in Abia State have decried the continuous and unhindered raids of different parts of the town by armed robbers who terrorize the people. Some of the residents who spoke to the newsmen in Aba said that within 1 month, robbers had hit Abai, Obohill, and other parts of the city unfettered. The complaint was a reaction to a robbery attack that took place in the betting office at number 18 Asa Road by St. Michael's Road, which is a few meters from a military checkpoint on Monday. Still talking security, and Umuahia-based legal practitioner Mike Ndo is advising President Muhammadu Buhari to resolve the security challenges in some parts of the country ahead of his second-term inauguration on May 29. Speaking with Flow FM News, Ndo said the government should prioritize security to redeem Nigeria's image.
His own local government is under attack. That shows also that these people do not spare anybody. So the thing that should preoccupy his attention now should be the issue of security. He should settle that first, even before he will be sworn in again. He must settle it. Because I wouldn't want to say that the security chiefs are not performing, but I think, having been a military man, he should know the best way to handle the security architecture of Nigeria.
Flow News at 6 continues shortly with business, foreign and sports news. Stay with us.
Jungle.
instead of using the seaports in Lagos State. El Rufai disclosed this while speaking on the sidelines of the ceremony for the commencement of cargo delivery by rail to the Kaduna Inland Dry Port. According to the governor, the transportation of goods from the dry port and containers from the seaport in Lagos to Kaduna by rail has confirmed that the inland dry port is functional. And away from the shores of Nigeria, anger over corruption, the faltering economy, and land reform are key issues as South Africans vote in the 6th democratic national election since apartheid ended 25 years ago. Young people queuing to vote have been speaking of their difficulties in finding jobs, with unemployment rate at 27%. The African National Congress, ANC, which led the fight against apartheid, has governed the country since 1994, but its support has eroded as large inequalities have remained. And finally, in sports, football fans have called on the Super Eagles of Nigeria to emulate Liverpool FC's spirit in the forthcoming African Cup of Nations in Egypt, scheduled for June. The fans in separate interviews said that Eagles need to believe in their ability and conquer Africa, just as Liverpool shocked Barcelona in the second leg of the Champions League semi-final. Liverpool outclassed Barcelona 4-0 with an extraordinary performance at Anfield to eliminate the Catalan giants in the competition after losing 3-0 in the first leg. And of course, the sports story wraps the news up this evening. But just before we go, a recap of our major stories. The inaugural session of the Presidential Election Petition Panel is ongoing at the Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal. Suspected thugs have attacked protesting NLC officials at the Minister of Labor's house. Abia State Commissioner of Police, Enel Kon, is confirming reduction in crime in Aba and Umuahia. And on the foreign scene, anger over corruption, the faltering economy and land reform are key issues as South Africans vote in the 6th democratic national election since apartheid ended 25 years ago. Thanks for being with us. Remember that security is everyone's business. Provide useful information to security agencies to ensure your security. Join us at 6:45 a.m., noon and 6 p.m. every weekday for additional newscast. This is Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. You can send your views or information to flowfmnews@gmail.com or visit www.flownews.com.ng for more stories. This bulletin was edited by Oluchi Ndubizu. Supervising editor, Samson Eze. I am Chimdindu Chambers. Have yourself a lovely evening. And up next is Flow Sports This Week.